Hello to myself and everybody else. This is video 125. So far today, we're going to be looking at two things and everything. And I'm still doing stuff from the C++ 31-hour free code camp video and all that to learn C++. But yeah, with this one, we're looking at like two things. And we're looking at structs. And we're also looking at the size of class objects. So far to start off, I'll go ahead and just put this first that I always do. Using namespace std. Basically with this starting off, we're going to be looking at like the difference between classes and structs. Basically with a class, we set it up basically like this. So class dog, put a semicolon at the end of it, and we'll just say something like string m name, just something like that. So far, again, with a class, we already know that classes by default will make stuff private. So if we want to make something public and actually use this, we have to do something like public, then do something like this so we can use it. So again, just so we can just see an example of it actually working and everything too, we'll just make an object with this. So we'll just say dog1, and then we'll say something like dog1 dot m name equals, whoops, I did not mean to do that. Say something like fluffy and all that. And so far, again, we can just like run it. We shouldn't have any problems. Again, we had no problems. We're going to like just print it out and everything and stuff as well, just because. So we'll just say cout. Let's say we'll just type it in like this. And just run it. There we go. Print fluffy and everything. So far, again, if we got rid of this public right here, we couldn't use this because it's default set to private. There we go. It says string dog m name is private within its context because classes default set everything to private. So we have to make it public to use this. But so far for a struct, if we do this, basically we can just set it up like let me just make sure I label it. So basically, again, something like this, we would just type in struct and it will say something like cat, and basically do the exact same thing, semicolon at the end, and literally we can just take this exact same variable here and all that. There we go. And just string name, string m name. And again, we literally can just copy this exact same stuff and everything too here and do the exact same thing. Let me just put a cout here so we can tell the difference. And let me also label it a bit better as well too. So here we'll say class dog. And from here, struct cat. Alright, so far from here, we'll just say cat, call it cat1, and we'll keep doing the same thing and stuff too, just cat1, cout, cat1, and this one's call it bluffy, why not just say that, and then we'll just run this. There we go, fluffy and bluffy. And so far, again, the main difference is, again, with the class up here, we got to put public for it to work because by default set to private. With a struct, we didn't have to do that. By default, it's set to public. So if we wanted to set it to private, we would have to do this. Private, and then this. So then it shouldn't run because, again, it's set. So yeah, string cat m name is private within its context because we set it to private. And so I'll just get rid of that, run it, and there we go. Again, that's really just the main thing just to show. That was it, like what the video had. Basically just showing that, again, with a class, default set to private, so you have to make it public to use stuff. With a struct, it's basically default set to public, so you have to make private to not have stuff show and everything. That was really it. I don't think it really said too much about like why sometimes you would want to, use one over the other. But basically, again, just like I can look at my notes real quick. I think I probably had some type now. Let me just look at my notes real fast. Yeah, here, just my stuff on like structs and everything. Said another way to make class, aka exact same thing as classes. Structs are public by default. Classes are private by default. Structs can make things private or public the same way you can in classes. This is most time, yeah, so here, most time people use structs for member variables only and not functions, but you can use it for both, just like a class. Basically, that's just the whole thing there. Just if you want, you can just put member variables in structs and then just, put other things in classes, but either way, they basically can be used the exact same. So that's like the main thing was shown about classes and structs. And so far, the other thing the video showed was like the size of class objects and everything. So far, I just reset everything so I can just like make sure it's just fresh and all that. But yeah, basically with this, they just kind of made the same kind of class as before, where it's like, class dog. Whoop. There we go. And then basically inside of it, they just said public and just made something called like just an empty constructor. So dog equal default. I gotta make this capital. There we go. So basically they just did something like that, and then they just put some variables in here as well. So private, and then from here they just put like a variable, something like, they put multiple, but we'll just go slow with this one. So like size t, and just something random like leg count. And then in here we just like basically print out like what's the size of size t. So we just make a object, so dog1. And then from here we just see out size of size t. Size of size t. There we go. So basically, again, we just run this real quick. Oh, wait. There we go. Forgot a semicolon. There we go. So it says size of size t is 8. And so far, again, we're going to add another variable and everything real quick, too. So we just see something. So from here, we'll say size t. You call it arm count. And so far with this, again, it said it was, said size of equals 8. So we added another size t, run it again. It says size of size t is still 8. Oh wait, I didn't hold on for a moment. Okay, I see where I went wrong here. All right. The reason why this is still 8 is because literally we're just looking at the size of size t itself. And I forgot to add this. So let me just do this real quick. I'll comment this out. So we're just looking at this one variable. And basically I forgot to put this. So C out. And we're just looking at size t, but we need to look of size of the object or the class itself. So dog. And then size of dog. Okay, now we run it. So yeah, again, the size of size t is 8. The size of the class dog is 8. So when I add in this other variable, size t arm count, and we run it, the size of the dog class goes up to 16 because now there's 2 size t's. So it basically goes up to 16 because 8 plus 8 is 16. But so far, the whole thing with this is basically showing that in a class, it only counts the size of the of the method variables, and that's it. It doesn't matter if it's private, but it only counts the method variables, and that's it. The functions, it doesn't really care about the size of. It only cares about the size of the variables. So basically, there was another thing it added and stuff as well. So I'll just say this. Size of, and I'll be specific here and say class equals 16. And just add that here, so we just make sure again. 8, 16. Then add another thing, basically a pointer here. So int And we'll just say p underscore age, like with the other one. And from here, we're going to just print out what the size of the int and everything is. So cout size of int and size of int. So again, we're going to run this. Yeah, so basically, again, the size of the int pointer is 8. So now it says at 24. Because again, it'll be 8, 8, and 8. That all makes it so it's 16. I mean, not 16, 24. So I'll just copy this over. So 24. Again, it's only affecting just the variables and everything here. That's the only thing when it comes to the size of a class. So far I said we also do something like something like this. There was another thing the video had and stuff too, so I'll just add this just because it was there. So why not? Basically made a string called name, and it just says something like, I am the king of the universe. Whoop, yeah. There we go. And then from there, it just prints out the size of it. So cout size of name. I'm just going to add the other thing here too. I just kind of forgot it. There we go. So I'll just run this. Hold on. Okay, I forgot to put semicolon here. All right, now run it. Yeah, so basically, it's like the string name of it is 32. And basically, it's like the size of it and everything too kind of just gets added on, kind of. Because basically, it said like, because with a pointer or something, like, basically, it says something where it's like, this thing really doesn't care too much about like what's pointing to what. Basically, like I said, this pointer and everything and stuff here, I'm describing it's like really messed up. But basically, like, because of the pointer and everything here, it's just kind of making space for a pointer. It doesn't really care what's there or like where anything is. So anything that's kind of just in the general area, it just kind of adds it on. So that's kind of the main thing with that. So like I said, it's like 32 and everything here. So if I get rid of this and just try running it, yeah, it still says 32 and everything. Just, again, it's a thing you try to like bring up, basically saying the size of the string really won't matter too much and all that. Just, I don't know, just something that brought up, something I'm just putting down. Again, I'm just kind of trying to run through all these real quick, but that's just the thing, just saying like make sure you just pay attention to the size of your stuff. That's really it. But yeah, that was really it for this, just for the size of, just basically, again, the method variables are the only thing that really the class will just take into consideration with size, and that's it. So just make sure you just keep that in mind. So that's really all. So to myself and everybody else, see you in the next one.